Welcome to Educators with Oil. I'm your hostess, Ronette Branham, here to offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. Today, we have a very special guest, the a critically acclaimed keynote speaker, evangelist, author. I took that straight from his webpage. Award-winning teacher and coach, Coach Spears, Willie Spears. Um, he has excited audiences with energetic, relatable, and educational presentations. And I just want to say, I came across a video, maybe a month ago, maybe. And then I've been an avid fan ever since. I just been following you. Then I decided to subscribe. So now I'm getting updates and everything. So I'm so happy to have you here with us. Uh, would you like to greet our audience?
I'm just saying I'm happy to be here. Everyone should know the place to be is right here with Ronette Branham on Educated with Oil. Pardon my voice. I've been speaking all day. I did six engagements today, seven actually, seven in a row. So my voice is weak. So pardon my screaming, but I'm so happy to be here with you. You do a great job. And it's two of my favorite subjects, education and evangelism. And so anytime we can talk about the Word of God and talk about education, you can sign me up. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, wow, you are so welcome. I was going over your bio, and it's just I want to be you when I grow up. That is, I think that's what drew me to you because you're speaking to teachers, and then you have that Bible, that biblical perspective. So that is just like, and then you're funny. I did read that you were an entertainer at one time. Is
Yeah, I
that
used to
true?
work, I used to work for Disney Cruise Line. So when I left college, I worked 2 years for Disney as an entertainer, a game show host. I was a comedian. I did karaoke, and then I did some entertainment work outside of Disney. I worked at a couple of TV shows and things of that nature. Hosted some shows. Did a comedy show with Bruh Man from Martin and
Oh,
Ricky
really?
Smiley in Rochester, New York, and they asked me to travel with them actually and be their MC for their comedy shows. But I was playing arena football at the time, and so I didn't do that. But yeah, we had a little entertainment background.
Okay, yeah, that I can see it when you're speaking. And my favorite quote from you is about that chair where you where if people don't know that you had an example where the teacher had a peeling chair, you didn't know if it was black or brown, and the other teacher she bought her chair herself, and then because of cleaning, the chairs got mixed up, and the lady, one teacher thought she was blessed by God with that new chair, and I can relate. I think everybody can relate to that if
Yeah,
you
so
bought
she
a
was
new
letting us
chair.
look. Don't make me take my earrings out. I'm trying to be holy. I went to church Sunday. I've been listening to Elevation Worship and Maverick City Music on the way to work. Don't make me go back hood. I'm holy now, but you're gonna make me turn hood. Please give me my chair back.
Yeah, that because I had that last year. I wrote my name on everything. Like I take my chair down with my name. So I saw other people saying the same thing that they did that. So I think that's pretty exciting. So you were a teacher before?
Yeah, I was for 20 years. So I was a teacher for 20 years and an administrator, and I was a coach. So I did that for 20 years. I have a master's degree in education. And then while I was doing that, I was doing some speaking on the side. It wasn't a
Oh,
big deal. I didn't post anything really, and I didn't seek engagements. But if someone asked me to speak, I would go speak. In the last 2.5 years, we've decided to speak full time. We feel God has called us out of teaching in the classroom in that sense to teaching teachers. And so it's been a blessing for us to add value to other teachers, to remind them that they matter and let them know how underappreciated they are and remind them every single day they're making a difference in the lives of young people. And so it's been a joy for us to add value to the lives of others.
and that's what you're doing. Absolutely. And I say I want to be you. I'm just playing, but for I want to teach teachers. I want to do that, and that's something. That's how this got started to help teachers because we're struggling. So, what do you have any like stories where it doesn't have to be even as a teacher, just a struggle, and then you saw that you overcame by just a strategy that you used.
I got too many stories for you. Let's start at the beginning. I went to Northwestern Oklahoma State University, which was one of the greatest decisions in my educational life that I've ever made. Northwestern was great for me. It changed my life. Little small school in Oklahoma. And I majored in communications. When I got out of college, I played a little bit of arena football, and my old high school coach called me and offered me a job. So I go into education with no educational background. And I failed the teacher certification test 12 times. Right now, you hear me? 12 times. Listen to me. 12. You got to be some kind of fool to fail 12 times. But what I tell people, my certificate says the same exact thing as the person who passed it the first time. It doesn't say on the bottom, but it took this dummy 12 times. And so my journey is one of perseverance and resilience and overcoming. And so I kept trying. I eventually passed it and gratefully became Teacher of the Year a few times. And so that was really an awesome testimony to God, not to me. So my journey starts there with overcoming the fact that I knew I was called to teach. I knew that, but I didn't see the evidence of me being able to do it. So that was tough. You have a degree, but they hire you as a full-time sub. You have a degree, but you have a temporary certificate. They're threatening you every semester. If you don't get this thing passed, we're going to cut your pay. We're going to find somebody else. And so I went through that for 5 years of my 20-year teaching career. Then, as a coach, we had several of our players make some bad decisions. Most of them not really when they were with us, but later in life. Several of my players are incarcerated. Unfortunately, several have passed away. Unfortunately, several have committed murder. And so when I was teaching and coaching, I was in the trenches. We had 2 players live with us, my wife and I. We had several young ladies that we mentored, and now they're grown women, and they text us and they call us and say thank you. So we didn't just work through the school day. We were all in and ministering to the lives of young people. And one great way for me to do that was through coaching, through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, through clubs and organizations. And so it was a blast for me. But one thing about children, they will let you down. You would do everything for them. You would bring them to school every day, and then they'll disrespect you. You'll pay for their ACT. They won't even say thank you. You'll buy them something to eat, and they won't even open their mouth to say they appreciate it. But if you're doing it because you love them, not because you want something in return, then you'll be okay. But if you're doing it because you want a Facebook post or some kudos or some props, then you're going to be disappointed. I was blessed to know why I was in it, to know I was called to do this. And when I would hire, I was an athletic director for a long time. When I would hire coaches, my first 3 questions was about their love for children. It wasn't about could they do the job, the X's and O's, or even the paperwork or the business side or fundraising. I wanted to know if they were driving home and 2 of their athletes were walking home, would they stop to give them a ride? I wanted to know how often are your players at your house? Everybody's not comfortable with that.
No.
But if they weren't, that's fine, but you just wasn't the right person for my staff. And so yeah, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but education is the most rewarding profession in the world.
Absolutely, it is. I love it. I have small children. I teach 2nd grade, so just watching them, because you can really see evidence when they're growing at 2nd grade at a 2nd grade level. So I love it, and it's not for somebody to say you're a great teacher, even though I am. No, just to say, just because I can see the evidence, I can actually see the students learning. And so I was going to ask you, did you have anybody come back? But you said, and I know you do have people come back and say how the value you added to their lives. So
yeah, I'm blessed.
That's awesome.
Maybe because of coaching, but I'm blessed. I mean, I don't want to exaggerate. I have hundreds, like literally over 100, over 200 kids over my 20 years that have come back. And I live in my hometown where I used to teach. So I see them all the time. I see them everywhere. And many of them are teachers. Many of them are coaches. So it's been great. And I was real with my guys, and my girls I coach, just real with them. And I still help them now. I was a head football coach at 7 different high schools. And the reason I got that many jobs is because my college coach called as a reference for me. And he's the head coach at Ohio University and used to be at Nebraska. So his name carried a lot of weight. Well, I've done that for a lot of my former players. I've called and helped many of them get jobs. And so I've been blessed. A lot of teachers never get a kid to come back and say thank you because they taught them in second grade and so many years have passed by. I was blessed because I had high schoolers that when they were 22, 23 years old, we still keep in contact.
Yeah, it is a difference because I taught preschool for over 10 years. So preschoolers don't even remember your face. They remember they had a teacher, but they don't remember. And then second grade, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't remember a second grade teacher that I had. I remember one name. That's it. I don't remember. I don't remember. So that is a great benefit to teaching in high school. And I have a question about setting goals, like, and consistently moving toward your goal. Like your goal, I don't know if you just when you decided to speak full time, but if that was a goal, how did you go about that? Because just because people are calling you, that don't mean you're going to be able to do it full time. So how did you set a goal? This is what I need to speak full time.
Well, I've always been goal oriented. My dad was in this company called Amway when I was growing up. And we used to listen to motivational tapes all the time. So I was 7 years old, and my dad gave me a book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I read that book as a second grader. And that book, to this day, has impacted my life. I use the strategies from that book right now. And listening to Zig Ziglar, listening to Les Brown, listen to those guys speak, and my dad's Ford, or his LTD at the time, and then the cassette tapes, I could hear, you can be great. You can do anything you put your mind to. Don't let anyone outwork you. You get out what you put in. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you have the eye of the tiger. You have to dream it. So those messages were ingrained in my head. So on my mirror, I grew up in a really small house, 2-bedroom, me, my mom, and my dad. We shared a bathroom, all of it. We had one bathroom. But on the mirror were goals. And I had some outrageous goals. I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to play professional football, like crazy goals. And by the age of 26, I accomplished every one of those goals. Okay. I got paid to play football. I got paid to rap. I got paid to tell jokes for the top companies. For Disney's, I worked in a radio station in Rochester, New York. So I realized the power of my words. And I realized if I outwork people, it will make up for my lack of talent. So I've never been the fastest guy, the most athletic, the strongest. Never been the smartest. I've never been the best athlete, but I've always been a hard worker. And so my dad is a hard worker, and I learned that from him. And so to answer your question, I had 4 bad bosses. I'm just going to be honest. Okay. I had 4 jobs where I thought they were my dream job. I'm like, man, this school is going to be perfect. And once I got there, within a few months, I knew I can't do this. Then I got to another one. I can't do this. 4 in a row. And that kind of pushed me to speaking. I'll tell you one of the schools, if Escambia High School would have worked out, I would be there right now. I would have never left. I just loved being there. It fit my personality, the community, everything about it. But for whatever reason, God allowed things to happen, and I was pushed out. And so at the time, I was upset. I was mad with God. I had turned down 3 college jobs to stay in that job because I gave the principal my word that I would. I got offered a job at Eastern Kentucky, Bowling Green, and a big-time high school job in Georgia. And I turned them down to stay there. So I say, and Wofford College. So I say that to say, when that happened, I said, I got to do something else. And I was already speaking a little bit. So I said, I'm going to speak full time. So I felt God calling me to speak. The first 4 months, listen to me now, 0 clients. The first 4 months I decided to speak, nobody would let me speak. I'm calling people. I'm sending highlight reels out. I got an email list. I'm doing everything I can. I'm posting, nothing. And then in my prayer time, it was revealed to me that I wasn't approaching this the same way I approach teaching and coaching. When I was a teacher and a coach, I worked 14 hours a day. I know that sounds crazy to some people, but that's what worked for me. So I said, you know what? I got to work 14 hours a day as a speaker. So I started waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and I would work all day until I fell asleep, which is usually about 10:30, 11 at night. And that right there changed everything. So then my goal became, how do we have the impact and the income we want to have? And I end up hiring a staff, and we've been able to accomplish a lot of those goals.
Yeah, you sound like I'm a part of a group called the Morning Meetup. I don't know if you heard of them, but David Shands, and that's what he tells us. What are we doing here? All these hours, you have 24 hours in the day, and you're working toward a goal, a business. What are you doing? So I love that. That's you're speaking to me right now. I'm doing? We're not spending time watching TV. You have time to watch TV? Like, how does that work? So I love that, because you had to have that mindset. And then I like how your parents prepared you as a child, because I'm just coming across motivational speakers, like Jim Rohn. I never heard of him, and he's gone. I didn't hear of him until last year. And he's gone. Who everybody talking about Jim Rohn? Okay, I don't know who that is.
He's one of the best.
I had to say it.
He's one of the best.
I know. I never heard anybody, like, we get these pep talks every morning, and people come on and giving us advice, and I haven't found too many, unless they're really young, who don't mention Jim Rohn. Like, they don't. And that is just something. Now I can get it. I could do that for my grandchildren. So, and my daughter, she's getting it now too, because I didn't have that. And that's I like that perspective from a parent, to say, I'm going to pass down generational wealth, and it's information that we need. And so I could appreciate that. I really can. And then that book that you said you read, How to Win Friends, and I'm reading that right now. It's taking me a little long, because we're reading other books at the same time. But yeah, that's supposed to be the thing. You're supposed to not name drop, but book drop. People say you got some information in your head, right? So I like that. I have another question. Since you were a teacher, you got it. You 20 years, 15 years. And how do you encourage teachers or what would you say to a teacher? They learn a curriculum, they learn a program, and they mastered it. And then here comes the district changing the program. I say that all the time. People, my listeners probably tired of me saying that, but it's like, I'm like, I got this. This is good. You can work with any curriculum, any program, and then you change it. So then I have to start all over. I'm learning it with my students. So how do somebody, how teachers get discouraged after a while? Why? So how do you, what would you say to a teacher that this is happening to, or has happened to?
You're not going to like the answer. You're not going to like the answer. None of that mess matters.
Uh-huh.
The curriculum doesn't matter. Dr. Ruby Payne's, the understanding the frameworks of poverty, Harry Wong, classroom management, none of that stuff matters. This is what matters: relationships. You do not remember the curriculum of your second grade, fourth grade, sixth grade, eighth grade, 10th grade teachers. You remember relationships. And so as a speaker, I know that facts fade, stories stick. Facts fade, stories stick. The Pythagorean theorem, I haven't used it yet. I'm 45 years old. I learned it 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I haven't used the periodic table yet. I haven't used fractions yet. Doesn't mean I shouldn't have learned it, but the relationship with the teacher. What we do in school is we focus on IQ.
Yeah.
If you're going to be successful in life, it's more about EQ. You got to know how to talk to people. You got to know how to persevere. It doesn't matter your intellect in the real world. That's the school world. Right. Now, we need that, but that doesn't determine success. There's a lot of smart people that aren't successful. So I would tell a teacher, roll with the punches. Remember, you're there for the children, not the grown-ups. So every other year, somebody's going to make some money and sell your district this $500,000 textbook, software, use this link, click this. We saw this work. It turned around in F school in 1 year. If we use this, none of that mess matters. I remember in Florida, they came out with they introduced No Child Left Behind, and they said, this right here is going to change education. in the next 10, 20 years, this is going to change everything. We were sitting at a table in the lunchroom, and my buddy said, man, we're going to be doing something different in 5 years. Y'all talking about 20 years. We ain't going to be doing this in 20 years. And he's right. He's right. So I wouldn't worry about those things. I would focus on building relationships with students, teach the curriculum, but don't fall in love with the curriculum. Fall in love with the relationship.
Okay, I got that. Yeah, because I heard somebody say, and I believe it's true, that students learn if a student doesn't like the teacher, it's really difficult for them to learn from that teacher. So
right, and what happens? That's true, and teachers are comfortable teaching people that are like them. So if you look at your standardized tests, a lot of white girls seem to do better on tests because there are more white female teachers than any other demographic. The group that does the worst on the test or have the lowest scores are African-American males because we have so few African-American male teachers. It doesn't mean somebody's racist, but if I'm a black woman, it's easy for me to relate to a black girl. If I'm a black man, it's easy for me to relate. I see a black boy may be intimidating to you or to a white woman, but to me, I don't care if he got dreads, tattoos, gold teeth, because I was him a few years ago. It's easy for me to approach him. Say, hey, bro, pull your pants up. Man, y'all calm down, bro, relax. I'm not afraid because I know him because I was him 15, 20 years ago. So that right there and building a relationship has a lot to do with it, but you're right. If I like you, I'm going to learn. No student says, man, I'm so happy we picked that curriculum. That really helped me understand math. That's the best curriculum we've ever had. No, that stuff doesn't matter. That's for the people high up in the tree that forgot what it's like to be in the classroom. They forgot. So they had these conferences and everybody trying to make money. They got all these tables and they promising you this. But they don't realize that curriculum worked in a different culture. See, I speak everywhere. I speak in rural Oklahoma. I spoke at a school called Freedom Public Schools. You're not going to believe this. Guess how many students was in their school?
How many?
Just guess.
150. I'm not. That's probably too much. Huh?
K through 12.
Oh, K through 12. 500.
23 students.
Okay.
23.
Really?
And then I go speak in Eden, Oklahoma. They have 2,000 in their school, in their high school. That's in their high school. So I've been all these big cities, Jacksonville. If you go to Chicago, you go to Detroit. Like I'm going to Minneapolis next week. Like listen, you can't take a curriculum that works in Chicago and use it in rural Oklahoma.
Right.
But we don't even think about that. Right. I wear a size 11 and a half. I can't fit in an 8. I can't fit in a 7. It may look nice. It may smell nice. You may give me a good deal, but it's not going to be a good fit, and I'm going to be uncomfortable. One of the issues in education, we think it's a one-size-fits-all model. It's not. So the National Department of Education, that's a waste. You can't tell everybody in the country how they should teach their children.
Right.
I was just in Wynne, Arkansas. They just got hit by a hurricane, a bad tornado 5 months ago. Their school is totally different than the school I was at the day before. Arkansas High School in Texarkana, Arkansas. Same state, totally different school. Totally different school. So it's not one size fits all. Just like your children are all different, schools are all different.
Absolutely. So yeah, I agree 100%. I believe that relationships matter, and because my thing was, this is how I said it. I talked to like our superintendent, different supervisors. I said, no matter what curriculum we use, if we use it with fidelity, it'll work because it's research based. So I don't have a problem. But I hate that word. At the same time, you're changing, and I still have to learn the curriculum. Of course, I have to build a relationship with my students. I still have to learn it, and then that causes it can cause setbacks because I'm trying to figure something out and I'm trying to teach you. I heard you say you worked for hours after school. I don't do that. I don't do that. There are times when I bring things home. You have to grade some tests or something. Some teachers do. They take all their work home. Some teachers do. But I think I want to know how we could get you to Trenton, New Jersey. That's what I'm thinking right
Oh, I
now.
would love to come. My cousin live in New Jersey, so she would love that. But I have an agent named Crystal Mills. I'll send you her
Okay.
information. You reach out to Crystal, she'll get you on the schedule. It's that simple.
I gotta talk to who the powers that be. I'm a teacher.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, just send them an email. What happens a lot of time, a teacher will send one of our videos to their
Uh-huh.
principal,
Yeah.
and they would say, this guy speaks in over 20 schools a month. What can we do to get him here? And sometimes they get the ball rolling.
Okay. I'm going. I know some people. We're going. We're going to see because I'm for real. I follow you and I watch what you do. I listen to the things that you say and how inspiring they are. And then when you have low morale, just you coming in, it is going to add value and get us on a new trajectory. I appreciate it. I One other thing, I don't know how, if it might be on a different. So, what legacy, do you hope to leave? I'm looking at it right now. So,
But
you have things on it on out in cyberspace that are never going anywhere.
yeah,
So, is
so
that your legacy or is it
that's part of it. The
evangelism?
legacy is multiplying myself. So
Oh,
when I spoke today, the lady said, "Well, I'll introduce you." I said, "Ma'am, please don't introduce me. These kids do not care about master degrees and how
uh-huh.
many books. They're middle schoolers." I said, "Just let me start talking." And I never told them my name. I never said my name. And when it was over, someone said, "What is your name?" So I don't care if people remember my name. I want people to remember how I made them feel. One of the greatest compliments I've ever had, a guy named Scott Carter in Mississippi said, "Willie's the most diverse speaker I've ever seen. He can speak to black people, white people, young, old, poor, rich, kindergartens, and nursing home." And so God has gifted us to be able to connect with almost any audience. And sometimes we make them laugh, sometimes we make them cry, but we want them to contemplate. And my son, when I put on an outfit, I think I look good and I don't look good, my son will say, "Dad, Dad." He say, "Do better, do better." So as teachers, I want us to do better. We all can improve. Nobody's perfect. Let's just do better. And so there are 11 guys that have worked for me that have become head football coaches. That was their dream. Well, I multiplied myself. There are several
Oh,
other coaches. There's about 6 girls that are head track coaches now, head girls basketball coaches now that I coach. I coached them in high school, and now they're head coaches. And so that to me, that's my legacy. My biological children, of course, and then all the children I've coached. That's my legacy. And that's one reason I write so many books, because books outlive people. You're reading and hearing about Jim Rohn, he's dead. We're still reading
yeah,
and hearing from Zig Ziglar, he's dead. We're still listening and hearing from Jesus Christ, he's dead. Now he came back, but then he went back.
yeah.
So all those books in the Bible, all 66 of them, they were written by people who are no longer with us, but it's still the number one bestseller of all time. So books outlive people. So that's my legacy. And this sounds silly, but I don't think about any of that.
Uh-huh.
Every morning I wake up, how many people can I impact today? I had a woman call me today thinking about committing suicide. Like, how can I impact that person today? And there's a lot of things that we do that we'll never tell people. It's nobody's business. It's just
Uh-huh.
personal. But for whatever reason, God has gifted me to connect with all types of people. Sometimes it's through humor. Sometimes it's just through, I'm just brutally honest, but in a nice way. And the charisma that God has woven into my personality helps me connect with people. But the purpose is for him to get glory.
Okay. I can't even comment on that. That is like what we're here for, to fulfill our purpose. That's what it sounds like. Your purpose. And so with that authenticity, that just you're being you, that is what I I say that's what drew me, just because I could see the realness. I could see you were authentic. You weren't trying to put on for that group. Even though you're different, you speak, you have different words with each group, you're still the same person, and I could see it. And I like that. So how do you keep that authenticity? Like how you go to a crowd, they may know you're an evangelist. They may not want to call you that. They may want to say you're a motivational speaker, and they don't want to hear you even slip. God, and how does that work?
Well, it's all a God message, whether they want it or not. I may not say turn in your Bibles to Matthew 6:33, but whenever I open my mouth, it's a God message because that's what's in me. And whatever is inside of us is going to come out. So when I speak or minister or whatever you want to call it, it's out of the overflow that's in me. So this morning I had a 3-hour drive from Texarkana to a town called Wynn, Arkansas, and I listened to the book of Numbers. I listened to about 8 chapters this morning. So that's in me. So it's going to come out of me, whether I quote the scripture or not. I'm not super Christian. I don't get everything right. I'm nowhere near perfect, but I plagiarize the Bible. That's my number one source of information. I copy the material. It's not original. The other thing is a woman named Erica McGee, when I was a youth pastor, I got to speak in a big church one Sunday, and I changed the way that I spoke to fit that crowd. And she got on to me because she said, you need to be who God created you to be. And then I was coaching, and I was trying to coach like my former head coach. And one of my buddies said, hey, man, you're not Coach Harden. You need to be you. And I was afraid to be me because my senior pastor never made jokes. He didn't use movie references. He didn't change the texture of his voice. So I just thought you had to be like him. And my old high school football coach, he was very stoic, didn't joke around, didn't play. But those two individuals gave me the freedom to be myself. And then, you know, Michael Strahan, right, on the Good Morning America. So I was doing a show, and not the name drop. I don't know Michael Strahan, but I was doing a TV show, and I just finished coaching. And I text Michael Strahan one morning on Twitter about 4 or 5 in the morning. And I said, hey, man, I'm doing what you did. I'm leaving football to go into TV. Do you have any advice for me? Never thinking in a million years he'll hit me back. He hit me right back. He said, always be yourself because that always works. So God sent all 3 of those people to tell me to be me. So here's the thing. I'm not for everybody.
No, right.
Everybody don't like Willie Spears, and I'm good with that. I tell people all the time, I may not be back to speak here because you don't like the way I speak. And I promise you, that's why there's so many speakers. It's one for you. Like if I wanted chicken tonight, I go to churches, I go to KFC, I go to Popeyes, I go to Bojangles, I go to McDonald's, they got chicken, Hardee's got chicken, Logan's got chicken, Texas Roadhouse got chicken, Longhorn's got chicken. So there's a speaker out there for you, but I'm going to be me. Now, the other part you ask about the audiences, I research every audience.
Okay.
If I'm going to Houston County, Georgia, it looked like Houston, but it's pronounced Houston. I need to research to know that. So I researched the mascot. I researched the history of it. So I tell a joke about a kid drowning. It's one of my jokes I use when I speak. And I talk about how, that building relationships is so important. This woman was entrusting us with her child, and she told me when we went to a water park, she said, Coach, be careful with him now, because last year them other coaches took him to this park, and he drowned. And then I said, the same boy that I'm talking to right now, he drowned? Yes. So that's a joke, right? And the way I tell it is funny. But I went into this other community in Georgia. They had a basketball player that played at the University of Auburn, phenomenal basketball player. He played overseas, and he drowned and died. So for that audience, that joke would not be funny.
No, it wouldn't.
So I have to research the audience. And if I'm not sure, I don't go there. So I research. I go on Facebook. I go on Twitter. I read old articles. I watch YouTube. I want to learn about the community. Do they have a heavy accent? What jokes will work? Some places I need to talk slow because they're not used to having an African-American speaker. And so my fast dialect would not register with that audience. So I slow down the way that I communicate. And so I don't get it right every time, but we research the audience. Paul said, I've become all things to all people. And so I want to connect with the audience. If they're Black, I'm going to talk in what people call Ebonics because they understand that vernacular. If they're white, I'm not going to talk white or talk proper. I'm going to be a professional no matter what. But you're going to see me go in and out of character depending on the audience for one reason, to keep their attention. Nobody, listen to me, nobody wants to go to PD. Nobody says, man, we have another professional development. I did 2 today for teachers. No, 4 for teachers. And I start off by saying this. I'm sorry that y'all had to come to PD on a Friday. I'm sorry. And so what I want to do is make it fun, but also have a message that
Yeah.
resonates and inspires you to continue doing a great job that you're doing.
Yeah, powerful. I'm just I'm loving it. I'm just eating up every word that you're saying, and I can it's resonating with me, regardless if whoever the audience is. And I understand, like, for me, when I'm teaching, my personality is my personality. Who I am is who I am. So anybody could walk in my classroom. I'm the same person. So my kids, sometimes they get my humor, sometimes they don't. They're at 7. So there's always one kid who's cracking up. He's laughing all day because he has that higher mental state or something. But yeah, I understand. No matter where you go, you do have to research, and I get that. So I don't know. I don't want to hold you long. I do want to say, when you said that about Michael Strahan, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Okay, I went to your Facebook page. I saw your email. I sent you a message. There was no doubt I was talking to you. Then today, I got like, wait, I just heard him say he had the person. And let me see. Like, I didn't. Then I start doubting. Is that really Willie Spears? I don't know. You said I had to send you a message. Well,
And
okay.
I'm,
Then you
I'm gonna
took.
tell you, we have a team, and
Uh-huh.
there's someone else does run my social media, but I run it too. So I
Uh-huh.
have all the passwords. I go in there, I talk to people, and they'll tell me, they'll say, look, you got this many messages, you need to go talk to them. Because we want to be authentic in that communication as well. But with that being said, and this is no flex, we don't have time to respond. We can't respond to every message.
Right.
It's too many. It's just too many, but it's a blessing. But we do try to reach
Mm-hmm.
out to people. And a guy called me the other day. He Googled my name and Googled my phone number, and he called me on the phone. And he said, hello? I said, hello. He said, I'm looking for Willie Spears. I said, this is he. He said, this is really him? I said, yes. This is really him for real? I said, yes. I don't believe it. He told his wife, honey, it's really him. And so I'm just a guy. I'm a teacher. I'm you. So one thing I learned in coaching, when I was a coach, I would talk to Nick Saban, big time coach at Alabama, Dabo Swinney, big time coach at Clemson. I would just talk to these guys, and they never big league me. Mike Norvell at Florida State, even when Bobby Bowden was there, because I was a coach, they saw it as a fraternity. And they never was like, hey, man, don't talk to me. These guys gave me their personal sales number. Now, you don't abuse that, but I have it if I need it. I call Mike Norvell right now on his personal cell. He texted me the other day. I'm not saying that to flex. I'm saying that to say those guys making $4 million a year, they on the highest stage. If they not too big time to answer my call, who am I not to answer somebody else's call?
Right.
So and with that comes balance. But yeah, I'm just a regular guy. I promise you, I'm nothing special. I'm an old football coach and an old teacher that want to impact as many lives as I can before my funeral.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you responding to me, because you didn't have to do that, and I appreciate it. And also, I just I usually start with a scripture, but my thing is seeking wise counsel. That's what I the premise, seeking wise counsel, and then we'll be wise. And that's what I look to when I look for a guest. And I am just honored that you decide to stop by here. And thank you so much. Is there any last words that you want to say? Any, you know?
Go to our Facebook. Go to our website. This is our new shirt. We got "Don't Drop the Baton." It's one of my talking points. The importance of hanging on. So many young people have had the baton dropped in their life. Their mom may have dropped the baton. Their teachers before you dropped the baton, but don't drop the baton. My second grade teacher was Miss Brandon. You're a second grade teacher. I remember Miss Brandon. She taught me on which side of the paper to write on. I made straight A's in her class. I did a presentation and she called me out on it because I didn't do it the right way. I was in a talent show and she came to watch me. I remember Miss Brandon at Millville Elementary School. Teachers have an impact that will outlive any of us. It lasts forever. But go to WillieSpears.com, get you some merch. I've written 15 books. Get you a book and reach out to my girl, Crystal, 405-370-9355, and make sure you get us in your school. We belong in your school. Instead of being on this call, I should be at your school talking to your teachers and your students. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. I love it. And again, I can't say thank you enough. I appreciate it. And again, this is Educators with Oil. I'm your hostess, Ronette Branham, here to offer biblical strategies for effective teaching. Thank you and have a blessed day.